The Dallas Cowboys just signed the quickest wide receiver in the NFL, so we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Cowboys could sign Speedy X Pro Bowl wide receiver. The Dallas Cowboys are being urged to target a Speedy X Pro Bowl wide receiver. The Cowboys should pursue Detroit Lions wide receiver DJ Chark. Cruz attributes Chark's speed. He ran a 4.34 40-yard dash at the scouting combine and his explosive playmaking as reasons for why Dallas should pursue the 26-year-old wide receiver. DJ Chark would make for a solid addition in Dallas with what should be a low-risk acquisition while also having a high upside, says Cruz. Chark, taken in the second round of the 2018 draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the speed dynamic that the Cowboys desperately need. Clocked at 4.34 at the scouting combine, Chark can stretch the field and create more space for the offense to operate in the short and intermediate passing game. Chark also has more than enough size at just under 6 feet 3. The team has had an interest in Chark before and did meet privately with Dallas ahead of the 2018 NFL Draft. The veteran receiver is known for his big play ability, turning 9 of his 30 touches into big plays, defined as a catch of 20 yards or more and a run of 10 yards or more last season. The injury bug has slowed down the veteran in recent years, but at his best, he can produce. Chark turned in a 1,000-yard season back in 2019 as a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars with a late-round draft pick rookie at quarterback. Chark would bring a lot of experience as he started 40 games in his career, says Cruz. Chark's best season came in 2019 after recording a career-high 73 receptions for 1,008 yards, earning a trip to the Pro Bowl in the process. According to the statistics last season, Chark had a big play on 9 of his 52 touches for a rate of 17.3%. The downside is he has missed 19 games in the past 2 years, having had some difficulty with staying healthy throughout his time in the league. This will likely drive his market price down, but that would make him a sensible signing for Dallas. The Cowboys aren't exactly in the best shape financially from a salary cap perspective. Dallas is nearly $8 million over the salary cap entering the 2023 offseason, ranking 21st among all clubs. Chark would be a reasonably cheap option as his market value is just $9.5 million per year, according to Spotrac. However, it's worth noting that he's appeared in just 15 games over the past 2 seasons due to ankle injuries and hasn't come close to matching the production he put up during the 2019 season. Over his past 15 games, Chark has produced just 37 receptions for 656 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. The Cowboys will obviously be seeking bigger names to pair alongside CeeDee Lamb. Odell Beckham Jr. will once again be an option, but Chark would be a nice secondary option if Dallas ends up missing out on the bigger names. A second story is Ezekiel Elliott to seek big money move before deciding on Cowboys' return on new contract. The future of Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has been front of mind since the emergence of Tony Pollard as the guy to run the football for the offense. With Dallas currently having an out in Elliott's contract and the 2-time rushing champ now having no guaranteed money left, the Cowboys must make a decision, or could it be made for them? According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the scouting combine could prove decisive. What's going to happen here is at the combine, Zeke Elliott's agents have to figure out his value to other teams in what looks like a deep free agent running back class, Schefter said on NFL Live. Except for the supposed timing of the decision, Schefter isn't really breaking new ground here, with Elliott projected to have a cap hit of $16.7 million and a dead cap hit of $11.86 million. The thought of parting ways with the former first-round selection, or at least the thought of parting ways with his existing contract, has always been an option as part of the plan. Considering that Dallas may opt to franchise tag Pollard and might even give Malik Davis a more prominent role in the offense, Zeke may be pushed out. But Schefter did state that if there are no suitors who are willing to give Elliott a big deal, then the best option is to take a substantial pay cut to remain in Frisco, though Dallas could still release him to free up significant cap space ahead of free agency. If there's a team out there that's willing to pay him big money, then yeah, you'll refuse to restructure your contract, be released, you'll sign on somewhere else, Schefter said. But what are the chances? Probably not very high, so that leads us back to a situation where I think he and the Cowboys might be most valuable for each other. Again, Schefter is breathlessly stating the obvious here. We know that Elliott's position is somewhat precarious, even if he himself has stated a desire to remain at the Star. The scouting combine will give us a good indication of his future in Dallas. One of the biggest questions faced by the Dallas Cowboys this offseason has been what the franchise plans to do about its backfield. After a Pro Bowl season, Tony Pollard is set to enter free agency. Adam Schefter provided a bit of clarity about Elliott's future on Thursday, reporting that Elliott's agent plans to assess his worth at the NFL Combine. After doing so, Elliott will weigh whether or not to restructure his contract, which would almost certainly mean taking a pay cut, or allow the Cowboys to release him. There's just one problem with that strategy. As pointed out by Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, if Elliott's agent talks to other NFL teams about what they would be willing to pay Elliott while he is under contract with the Cowboys, that would be considered tampering, which is banned by NFL rules. Not that Florio believes any team would get in trouble for engaging in discussions about Elliott. He wrote that tampering happens all the time and is generally not enforced by the NFL. The entire approach outlined by Schefter constitutes tampering, Florio wrote. His nonchalance in explaining the strategy reconfirms that tampering happens all the time. As long as teams are relatively discreet, they don't get in trouble for it. The NFL's rule on tampering states that no club, nor any person employed by or otherwise affiliated with a club, is permitted to tamper with a player who is under contract to or whose exclusive negotiating rights are held by another club. The third story is Stefan Diggs shared a special Cowboys wish on social media. The Dallas Cowboys need to improve their roster this offseason. The fans know it, the front office knows it, and clearly the players do too. After falling to the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round, one weakness that showed up in that game was a lack of weapons. Dallas needs to fortify their offensive skill players and give quarterback Dak Prescott more to work with. Well, cornerback Stefan Diggs has an idea of someone that might fit into the Cowboys' offense. That is his brother, Buffalo Bills wide receiver Stefan Diggs. Stefan has been open about wanting to play with his brother, and there is a need at receiver on the Cowboys. Dallas front office tried to acquire a wide receiver before last season's trade deadline before they all fell through. Also, they were one of the top teams interested in Odell Beckham Jr., but trying to get Stefan off the Bills is easier said than done. He is not expected to be a free agent until the 2028 season, and the Bills have no reason to want to move him. Stefan has been a big reason for the growth of Josh Allen, and they have great chemistry together. But there is no question the Cowboys need to upgrade at wide receiver this offseason. Since Dallas rarely spends money on free agents, expect to see them active in the trade market. If not Stefan Diggs, then someone like DeAndre Hopkins is expected to be available for trade. The fourth story is one crucial move will have a domino effect on entire offseason. The Dallas Cowboys have some important decisions to make this offseason, some bigger than others. Mike McCarthy has revamped much of the offensive staff and will take over play-calling duties, while Dan Quinn is back to run the defense after a very successful first 2 years with the franchise. However, tough choices will be made over the next month and beyond before kickoff in September. Arguably the biggest decision will center around what to do with Tony Pollard. Pollard, an impending free agent, proved his value this past season. It was obvious how big of a factor that he played in the Cowboys having offensive success. He is a dynamic threat that puts pressure on defenses in so many ways. With that said, it's not as easy as the Dallas Cowboys simply re-signing him. Rather, there are different factors that the front office and coaching staff must consider, especially since Pollard suffered a gruesome injury in the final game of the season for Dallas. Tony Pollard enters free agency after having ankle surgery. He broke his left leg and suffered a high ankle sprain in the playoff loss to the San Francisco 49ers. That is a factor that could have an impact on his negotiations. Signing an injured running back, as fluky as that seemed to be, is always a risk. Furthermore, it's been shown over the years that it's not smart to give a running back a second contract. Running back is such a physical position where there is a ton of wear and tear involved, ultimately leading to a decline in talent and production. Ezekiel Elliott is one prime example, as it has been clear to see Zeke lose his explosiveness that made him so valuable early in his career. Additionally, it is almost like running backs grow on trees. Every team seems to have a back that makes an impact without premium draft capital or a lofty salary. Team building is strategic, and investing money at that position is unwise when looking at the big picture. That makes signing Pollard to a long-term deal or even placing the franchise tag on him tricky. Furthermore, the 2023 NFL draft class appears to have a ton of talent at running back. Texas running back Bijan Robinson is the headliner of the group. He even has been linked to the Cowboys early on in the draft process. Beyond Robinson, there is a ton of prospects that should intrigue the Cowboys. Jahmyr Gibbs of Alabama, Devin Achane out of Texas A&M, and Tank Bigsby from Auburn are other notables that could have big impacts right out of the gate in the NFL. The fifth story is Cowboys hiring former first-round pick to their coaching staff. After parting ways with Kellen Moore this offseason, the Dallas Cowboys are hiring another former NFL player. Field Yates of ESPN reported this week that the Cowboys are bringing in Sheriff Floyd to be their assistant DL, defensive quality control coach. It is the first career coaching gig for the ex-defensive tackle Floyd. Floyd was a first-team All-American in college at Florida. He was then picked in the first round of the 2013 NFL Draft by the Minnesota Vikings. Floyd logged 9.5 sacks over his first 3 years with the Vikings, but saw his career come to an early end due to injuries. Still only 31 years old, Floyd had already spent time at Cowboys training camp last season working with the coaching staff. Now he has officially joined that staff,